What's up everyone, I'm Sam Martin, the guy who went from being an awkward homeschool farm boy to making over $364,000 a year without going to college or starting a business. And this is the place where we teach you how to level up your skills, how to make more money, and how to build real financial freedom. So let's dive into this video. What do I actually do as a sales entrepreneur? This is a question I get all the time from people who are looking at getting into the sales entrepreneur space, looking into getting in the sales and business space, and are curious, what does it actually look like? What would I be doing? Everybody knows like what a plumber does, right? They fix pipes, or a doctor helps them get well, right? But not a ton of people know what a sales entrepreneur is and what it actually is that you're doing. In this video, what I want to do is kind of pull back the curtain for you guys, what actually goes on and what people do when they become a sales entrepreneur. A lot of people are like, okay, that sounds so cool. How does it actually work? I know the blue collar world, I know the everyday job market, but how do you actually make money from a laptop? And that's what we're going to dive into in this video here. What I'm going to do to help you understand this is I'm going to give you two pieces. Number one, I'm going to give you the tools that you use. Just like a carpenter, you have your tool belt, right? You have to have the right tools. Number two, I'm going to give you what you actually do with those tools, what you do in the day-to-day of a sales entrepreneur. There's four key things that you need to be a sales entrepreneur. There's extra stuff that you can get if you want. That's kind of like fancy bells and whistles, but it's not what you need. If you stay to the end of this video, I will drop you a secret hidden clip bonus of my setup, the tools that I use on a daily basis, and what some of the tools, some of the setups might look like tangibly for you guys. What are the tools? Number one is a laptop. Could be a desktop, but most people use a laptop. Now, it doesn't have to be a super fancy $5,000 laptop. I typically recommend at least $500 to $1,000. You want to get something that's pretty quality, but it doesn't have to be over top or crazy specs or anything. You're not going to be editing videos or like too many high-speed crazy things. It just has to be able to open up your CRM and your different documents to be able to process your deals and whatnot. That's the first thing. Number two, a smartphone, right? So you need to have a smartphone to be able to call people, to be able to have your team communication apps on, etc. Pretty standard, straightforward. You know, almost everybody has a smartphone, Android or iPhone, both work fine. Number three is high-speed internet. If you're going to be working online, you obviously have to have a connection to the internet, right? You have to have a connection to online. I typically recommend having a decent speed. Like, you want to have high-speed internet. You don't want to have something super slow, but it also doesn't have to be ridiculous. I typically recommend anywhere over 50 MBS, megabytes per second download speed, and at least 10 MBS, megabytes per second upload speed. You can test your internet right now. You go to speedtest.net. You can test your internet there for free. Number four is headphones. You want to have a set of headphones so that you can talk to people, you can do Zoom calls, meetings, etc. Send people voice messages without having to play your audio everywhere. It just makes it a lot easier. You're not having to like hold the phone up to your head if you are talking to people or whatever. So headphones are critical. Again, here it doesn't have to be $500, Apple headphones. It could literally be an old school wired headset, or it could be like regular $50 or $100 set of Bluetooth earbuds that would work great. Those are the four core tools that you need as a sales entrepreneur. You probably have a bunch of those already. Like I said, there's other stuff that you can get, there's extra stuff, but that's what you actually need. So now that you know what the tools are, what do you actually do with those tools? Number one, you're going to be connecting with new people. If you're going to be a sales entrepreneur, you should like talking to people, you should like communicating with people, because it is a very people-oriented role. If you hate people, maybe not your role. You could still do it. I know some people that hate people and still do sales entrepreneurship, but maybe not your cup of tea. Now, this could be via texting, emailing, phone calls, Zoom calls, whatever it may be, but the primary thing that you're doing is connecting with new people. Obviously, it's not in person because you're working online, you're working remotely. You're connecting with people through the digital assets that they use. Like I said, texting, emailing, social media. There's tons of other communication channels, but it's simply a connection and starting a communication. Now, most of the times though, if you're working with a good company, it should be people who already know who the company is. So maybe they are subscribed to the company's email newsletter and they've been watching the newsletter for a couple months, or they saw an ad and they submitted an application, or they signed up for some more information. Maybe they signed up for a free training and you're reaching out to them to see if they want an additional resource to help with the training. Sometimes this would be with people who don't know you or don't know the company, where you're reaching out to them via a certain channel and you're reaching out to them to provide that information. That is the first thing that you do as a sales entrepreneur, is connecting with people. The second thing that you do as a sales entrepreneur is listening. And a lot of people think that in the sales and business world, you have to be like a fast talker, you have to say all these fancy things and blah, 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 blah. The reality is, as a good sales entrepreneur, true professionals actually listen more than they talk. So when you're interacting with people, when you're engaging, all you're doing is you're asking specific questions, you are understanding the problem, and you are going deeper with that customer, with that client, to figure out what is it that they actually need. Do they need the product or service that I have? Can I actually help them, right? And by asking those questions and listening, you actually learn a lot more and you do a way better job as a sales entrepreneur. That's a really cool piece where it's like you're almost like a consultant, where you're helping to uncover the problem, and then if you have the solution, providing that solution to them in a way that makes makes sense. That's the second thing, is understanding the problem and listening. And then thirdly, explaining. This is the part where you're going to explain to them based on what you heard, based on what you learned from them, what your service or product that you're selling can actually do to help them. Just use an example. Say you are working with a restaurant, you're selling to restaurants, and you are helping the management of the restaurant use a software that helps them better manage their team. This software is going to help them do scheduling and payroll and all these other things, and it's actually going to save them time and save them money by using this new software instead of having to do paper checks and run around and taking all this extra time to pay all their people or whatever. That's an example of how you would explain to a restaurant owner or a manager how your service, how your software could help solve that person's problem. You can see how, based on what you learned, based on what you listened to in your conversation, you can provide a solution that actually is beneficial to them and that helps them and is actually good for them. So those are the tools that you use as a sales entrepreneur and what you do with those tools and how you actually use them to make money. And hope that gives you better insight into the world of sales and sales entrepreneurship and gives you a little more clarity if this is something you're proceeding into. I'm gonna pop this over here. So as promised, here is my setup. Obviously I have the lights and the mic here for shooting videos, but you guys wouldn't need that since you're not shooting videos. Basically, you have your laptop, and obviously I have internet connection as well as my phone, which I'm filming this on, so I can't obviously show you that. And then here's some extra stuff that I have, like I said, that you wouldn't necessarily need, but I have a big gaming mouse pad here, which is awesome, and a Bluetooth keyboard, Bluetooth mouse, and a laptop stand, which actually helps hold the laptop up at a better place so that you can see it and it's better for your neck, as well as I have blue light blockers, which I highly recommend, and I love just keeping a scratch pad, notepad by the way, so that I can take down notes really quickly. So that is my setup. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope this was valuable to you. If you got some value from this, go ahead and leave a like, leave a comment down below. Let me know, did you love it? Did you hate it? What are your thoughts? What are your questions about sales and entrepreneurship? Drop a subscribe if you want to get more training like this, more insights into the sales and business world, how to make more money, how to increase your skills, and how to build financial freedom. So with that, guys, I'm Sam Martin signing off. And remember, don't just listen, implement.